Hey guys, this is Magic here. Didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, so this video is gonna suck. But despite that, somehow I managed to come in second place at F&M today. What deck was I running? Well, I decided to just say, screw it. I cannot beat red, white, blue. If they play against me, screw them. I heard somebody's running the Infinite Cat combo. Now 2 people are, so, screw those people. Although the other guy, it didn't feel terribly oppressive. It seemed very stoppable. His deck was very unique and homemade, so it was yeah, it's in there, but it's more appropriate. It wasn't oh, just spam counter spells and removal until we get off the combo. And that was in the final match for first place, and it was 2 damn good matches. So I guess not all the infinite combo decks are evil, just the oppressive top net deck ones. But anyway, I brought a deck that I just thought was fun. I like playing with it, because if I'm not going to win, I might as well have fun. Simple as that. Plus, also, if I'm not going to win, I'm going to make sure my opponent doesn't have any fun. Just kidding. I didn't actually bring Gravity Bomb 2. I might next week, though. I brought Combat Specialists. I mean, mono white, no color screwing, perfect land ratio. The deck is perfect. I mean, there is just... You really can't build a better deck than this. It is absolutely perfect. Theoretically, throwing Gideon in might help a little tiny bit, but I'm trying to keep costs down. So this deck is so stupidly simple. You look at it and it looks like a 5-year-old built it. It's just like some person new to MTG built it, but no, it works, and there's so much math put into it that it's just, you have to run it to realize how powerful this is. Now this is a little high on the cost scale. I'd put it around $60 maybe. Selfless Spirit's probably 70, maybe 80. But a lot of these cards are from Eldritch Moon, and actually almost the rest of the deck is from BFZ. There is 1 card from Kaladesh. So you may have these cards already. So I've already uploaded Combat Specialist 1, but I hadn't updated it for Aether Revolt. And it turns out swapping out 1 card for an Aether Revolt card and then also swapping out another one for just a better card, given the competitive scene right now, yeah, it really works. I assure you, this deck is virtually unbeatable in 2 out of 3. It doesn't seem like it. It is. Just take my word for it. So first of all, we got Always Watching. Okay, there's your boost everything vigilance. I can swing with my lifelinkers and first strikers without having to leave them on defense. It's huge. You get out 2 of these, you can win the game with 1 creature. You got 5 creatures on the field and you drop 1 in, you just won the game. I mean, it is that oppressive. Plus, that is the gas pedal mixed with the nitrous button in the deck, because almost the whole deck is flying. Well, okay, that's a little generous. A lot of the deck is flying. Well, some of it's trample, though, and trample is like flying's cousin. Speaking of flying, aerial responder. I mean, 2/3 vigilance, lifelink. Doesn't even need Always Watching. There's a lot of redundancy. He just hits, gains life, emergency block, and he's a life gain source, which there are actually life gain triggers in this deck. Next up, I put in 3 copies of Eternal Scourge because you can remove him as many times as you want. He's just going to keep coming back. So, enough said about that. Oh, you're going to blow him up with Harness Lightning? Great. He's back. He's also easily targetable by basically anything, even a spell land, if you need to trigger Revolt. So that's your out. That's your emergency situation. Next up, we got Stasis Snare. Honestly, it could be Deck in Stone. I mean, Stasis Snare is good against stopping the Felidar combo. Stasis Snare, I don't know, it costs 1 more. It can't target multiple. So either main board Deck in Stone or Stasis Snare. I went with Deck in Stone, and I might actually change that back. Next up, we got 2 whole copies of Selfless Spirit, which is weird because my actual physical deck doesn't do that. It doesn't match exactly. Some of these you can play with them a little bit based on how many people are running board wipes. Oh, let's run more Selfless Spirits. So these are huge. I mean, it's 2 damage in the air for 2, and it's a lightning rod, and it can dodge spells to make them fizzle if they actually target them. And like I said, no more board wipes. After that, we got Lone Rider. That guy's insane. First strike lifelink, and if you gain 3 life in a turn at the end step, you flip him. He becomes a 4/4 trample first strike lifelink. That can kill everything. It's a 2-cost creature that gets absolutely out of control, and it stops any kind of 3/1 or 2/1 creature without even having to trade because of the first strike. Plus, he's just constant early game life gain. I mean, it's just huge. That creature is so good. When he flips, he's an immediate blow him up or game over. And the funny thing is, I describe about 5 cards in the deck that way. You need to get rid of this immediately, you're going to lose. So, like I said, it's just sheer power. This deck is insane. Next up, Faith Unbroken. This is a removal spell with a boost, with a life gain, with everything. This is the whole deck in enchantment form. So it costs 4, yeah, whatever. They could counter it, whatever. But you throw it on one of your creatures, and you exile one of theirs until basically the creature dies. I mean, if they manage to blow up just the enchantment, good for them. But other than that, it's basically if they kill the creature, then they get their creature back. So it's basically like Stasis Snare, except it gives +2/+2. So if you put this on Lone Rider, boom, he's going to flip at the next upkeep because he himself will gain 3 life. What I usually do is put it on some dumpy creature, like one you haven't even seen yet in the deck, like some second-rate, just virtually an enchantment creature. You know, it's barely even considered a creature. And now it's like, who do they kill? Do they kill the giant flying lifelinker? Or do they kill the Lone Rider, which is going to be a threat? Or do they kill, you know, the guy holding Faith Unbroken because he wants, or because you want to get your creature back? Well, you better have 3 kill spells because all 3 of them are going to kill you. So Faith Unbroken, one of my favorite cards, super underappreciated. It's on par with Spell Queller. It's like you gain combat capability while at the same time with the same spell removing something from their battlefield. So next up we've got Solemn Recruit. I got 4 copies of this in there. Honestly, I might revise it to have 3 Solemn Recruits and 3 Selfless Spirits. I think that's a little bit more appropriate because there's nothing about Solemn Recruit that gets it through. It's not trample, it's also not lifelink, but holy hell do you need to get rid of Solemn Recruit or you're going to die. It's a double striker, and when anything leaves the battlefield, including Selfless Spirit, FYI, you just put a counter on them at the end of turn. So if they killed something other than Serene Steward, now they're going to take 6 damage next turn, and then 8 damage next turn if they don't block it. Plus, automatic first strike, and it's 2 first strikes, so it can kill any kind of 3/2 creature. So once again, you get it out, they need to remove it immediately or they're going to lose. So basically everything you cast, they need to remove it immediately or they are going to lose. So next up, we got Serene Steward, aka Kristen Stewart. I mean, seriously, that's her. I mean, let's be honest. That is her mopey, overly dramatic, lifeless face. Besides being, you know, a moderately okay creature for the cost, she has the ability to, whenever you pay life per instance, this will trigger, and you target a creature. And the thing is, you can target a creature without actually paying for it. That's the actual rule. So if you needed to make an Eternal Scourge leave the battlefield, target it, and then just say, oh, I choose not to pay it. That is how it works. Take my word for it. Anyway, you target a creature, pay 1 white, and then drop a counter on it. So you're already winning, you're already gaining life. Now your creatures are getting absolutely out of control. And once again, you can drop the counter on the dumpiest creature, like Serene Stewart herself. Well, now you got a 3/3, then you got like a 4/4. Whoopsies. Suddenly she's a threat, except the lifelinker's the real threat. Once again, they better be able to remove everything on the battlefield or they're going to lose. But wait, it gets worse. You know who's coming. Gisela, the Broken Blade. Just when they thought that the deck wasn't dickish enough and that you didn't have more, you know, annoying cards, drop out a Gisela turn 4 and the game is over. 4/3, first strike, flying, lifelink. She can stop anything, especially when you start putting, you know, +2/+2 on her, start dropping counters on her, which honestly, I just wouldn't. I would just keep swinging with her because everybody's like, oh, she's the biggest threat. And then you start growing your Lone Riders, putting counters on, you know, other stuff. Your Serene Steward's getting huge, your Double Striker's getting huge. They have to draw so much removal to stop you that they just can't. So there is a little bit of skill, a little bit of, you know, wisdom in how to run this deck. The only other thing, I mean, there's 16 planes, 3 Blighted Steppes. I got to stop and mention that. You paid, what is that? I don't even have the card in front of me. 4 or 5, I think 5, whatever, maybe 4. And then you sack it and gain 2 life for each creature. Now, you do gain it all at once. It is 1 instance, but that alone can trigger your Serene Steward and start dropping a counter onto 1 creatures. So if you're at a stalemate and you just can't swing because they have a first striker, you have a first striker, something like that, now your creature's big enough, boom, resume the game, and FYI, I just gained 8 life. It can keep you alive, it can trigger lifelink, it's amazing, and it can trigger the Revolt trigger. Yes, sacrifice Blighted Steppe. So there you go. Now the other one is 4 copies of Sandstone Bridge. I love this one because you drop it in, +1/+1 vigilance. Yeah, it comes in tapped, who cares? So you make a creature just a little bit too big to handle. Maybe you boosted it just enough to gain 3 life via lifelink, and you're going to flip your Lone Rider. And I believe that's it. That's the whole damn deck, and it runs 23 lands. So, you know, you're good. You're going to draw the lands. And the only reason is because it needs to get to 4 very quickly for Faith Unbroken and for Gisela. They need to come out as quickly as possible. And there's actually quite a few 3 costs in the deck. You know, it seems like it, especially always watching. Well, and Aerial Responder and Stasis. I mean, unless you went with Deck and Stone. Well, the sideboard, I don't know. I went with like Fumigate, Planar Outburst. If they're really blowing up your guys, Aether Geode Miner, because she can flicker herself. That's kind of cool. You have to get the energy first by swinging at least once, but whatever. I mean, it's a 3/1. It's a lot of damage coming at you. And then, you know, Evasion. The Evasion is almost on par with Hexproof. It's just when you flicker her, she gains Summoning Sickness, depending upon, you know, what turn it was, sort of. Other considerations, obviously Stasis Snare instead of Deck, or Deck instead of Stasis Snare, and Thalia, the lieutenant or whatever, you know, the 3/2 first striker that makes all of their lands and all of their creatures come in tapped. That by itself stops the Infinite Cats combo, because Saheeli can only bring in cats with haste, and then they exile at the end of turn, but they come in tapped, so they can't actually swing at you. So they're done with that. Also, if you really wanted to mainboard her, you know, okay, I'd maybe take out Eternal Scourge if you're really not worried about, you know, creatures that don't fit the deck at all. They're just 3/3s that basically come back over and over and over and over and over. If you don't think you need that, you might be right. I mean, this deck still gets a little bit disrupted by control because it doesn't have any saving or resurrection. You could put in Thalia, and at least she has first strike. So it's first strike on the ground. She's not that much better, and it only really buys you a turn, but sometimes that's enough to win. So if you wanted to throw her in, otherwise I just put her in the sideboard, and there goes the cat combo. I mean, between flashing in Stasis and then her, and usually I have a third way to deal with it, yeah, they're done. And then you could just run, you know, white enchantment, or white artifact removal, like Fragmentize, whatever. That'll take out a Marvel very, very, very easily. So, yeah, that's the deck. That's all there is to it. It is fun as hell. I love running it. Whether I win or lose, I still love running it. And I went 2 wins, 0 loss, 2 wins, 0 loss, and then just barely lost the third round, unfortunately. And I believe I've won F&M once, first place with this deck. So now that I've finished second with it, and this is the revised edition that's a little bit more powerful, yeah, build this deck. If you're looking for something really powerful and really competitive that can occasionally stomp the top decks, especially Mardu vehicles, definitely build this one. So hopefully this revised edition helps you guys out. If you love it, leave a big honking thumbs up on the video, and I'll see you guys next video.